Right.
And, you know,
They need to know who we are.
yeah, they need to know who we
And
are
what we stand for.
and what we do.
And the quality services that we provided.
Right, right. So welcome again, friends, to another program of Final Decision. Of course, it is aired every Monday and Thursday at 11:30. It is your mid-morning feature, wealth of information, Mr. Green. And to those who have expressed their gratitude for the program, we thank you so very much for your listenership, because without you, what we do would not make any sense.
Right.
All right. So what's going on, Mr. Green?
Yes, sir. Very happy to know you're on the hot seat this morning. And, as you rightly said, we have been given a wealth of information, about, how to make the industry better. But I'm quite sure, Mr. Maitland, that, the listeners want to know about us a little.
All right.
And who we are and what we have to offer. So this morning, we just want to know a little more about Mark Maitland and the Garden of Paradise, And so, Mr. Maitland, how are you feeling this morning? How was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. It was a cool weekend.
Cool weekend.
Yeah, man, a relaxing weekend.
Okay, Mr. Maitland. So you're ready to share with Jamaica.
And as I said that, I just want to hope that everyone who is listening right now, that we are all safe, because Mr. Green, I know there are some areas that when it rains, it is not so comforting for most people. And I am hoping that we don't have any dire situations that has been caused because of the rains on the weekend. So just hoping that everyone is all right.
Okay, let me get into the meat of the matter as we get to know more about Mr. Maitland. Mr. Maitland, he is a well-learned person in the funeral industry. He holds a degree in mortuary science, and he is one of those persons who always try to improve the industry, always try to make things better. And as we go into this interview, you will learn more about Mark Maitland and Garden of Paradise Funeral Home. Mr. Maitland, with your background in banking and finances, what inspired you to become, you had a job where, a job that people consider the most prestigious job, one that anyone would love to have. And what inspired you, Mr. Maitland, to become a funeral director?
The truth is, I've always wanted to be a funeral director, and I ended up in banking because at the time I could not afford to pay the school fees overseas. And the truth is, if I had the exposure back then and the push, I would have. This is something that I would have been in straight up. But growing up, especially in rural Jamaica, all we know about is lawyer, doctor, teacher. Those are the limited professionals that we talk about. And so the truth is, I didn't even do a degree in finance. I did a degree at UTech in computing and management studies, and I ended up working in the banking sector in marketing, customer service for a number of years. But it's something that I've always wanted to do, and so when the opportunity presented itself, I did not hesitate. I left the bank and just came to do what I was born to do.
Yeah, one of the things, Mr. Maitland, I understand, in the funeral business I go from day to day, there are a lot of people who are coming into the funeral business because they believe that money is in it.
Right.
But like you have just said a while ago, from a long time, you wanted to be a funeral director. Yeah, so I realized that there was a passion.
And I think what drove the passion was when my grandma died. I'm very close to my grandma. And when my grandma died, I was not pleased with the final presentation. And it was at her funeral, I made a vow to myself that I am going to go in the funeral business, because there's no way somebody should have to see this as a large presentation of their loved one. They should have a good representation of their loved one. And so that was really the driving force behind my decision, because I knew that not because the person had died, they had to look a particular way. They could look as natural as possible. And I basically set out to prove that, persons, though dead, can look like themselves. And
Right.
that's what really drove me to really, have the aspiration to come into the business.
And Mr. Maitland, as I think that, as I said, you have led by compassion, and I really happy for that because what you have just said, it has proven itself to be so true.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let Jamaica understand that, it is all about passion.
Yes, man.
It's not about just want to make a money or want to make an easy life because there's nothing in the funeral business that is easy.
Nothing is easy. And I don't know where the misconception comes from, because it is so much the opposite. There's nothing easy in the industry.
Yeah. Mr. Maitland, do you have you want to share one of your most challenging moments as a funeral director?
The most challenging moment at any time for me is always dealing with situations where you have differences in the family relationship. So when you have families come into the office and they are divided, that's one of the biggest challenge, because the aim now is to see how you can get everybody to be on the same page so we can work together. Because unless you have everybody as best as possible saying what you want them to say on the same page, agreeing to what you want them to agree, you are going to have big problems there. And so settling differences between families is always the thing that is the most challenging.
Right. I understand, Mr. Maitland. As for me, I think every funeral is challenging for me until after the funeral.
Until after the delivery.
Until after the delivery, because, you're just wondering what to expect.
Right.
Especially, let's say, when the family is divided.
Right.
And the rest, if one side of the family did not want you to do the final arrangement.
Yeah, man.
So
That's the big challenge right there, man, when they always have somebody else in mind. Because, trust me, you're on pins and needles, as they would say, with that.
Mr. Maitland, one of the things that I really admire about you, and I always talk about this with my colleagues and family and friends, not only are you a funeral director, but you also, is an educator, a teacher at our local certificate and degree program. No, Mr. Maitland, what I want to ask you is what drove you to teach, to want to teach your prospective competitors to become a funeral director.
Like I always tell my students, we are not competitors.
Right.
There is enough share to go around for all of us. And the fact is, if you want something done,
Hold it there, Mr. Maitland. I wish if somebody could call a friend right now and let them hear that statement that you have just made a while ago. And you understand? Being a funeral director, this brother, he find it in his best interest to want to teach his prospective competitors how to become a funeral director and a good funeral director.
yeah, because the truth is, unless there are professionals in the industry to display that professional behavior, the industry will forever remain an unprofessional one. And the truth is, the best way to make something happen is to be a part of the change that you want. So it's of no use we stand on the sideline to say, boy, we don't want the thing to be better, and then we're going to treat everybody as a nemesis to us. The best way to make the industry better is for us to join hands and hearts and minds and everything together to see how best we can put things together. And we know, Mr. Green, that when persons are so educated in a particular way, it changes their mindset. And what we want is a funeral industry in Jamaica that is top class in the Caribbean and on par with what is happening in the world. And that is where I always say I want to put my energy. And when Montego Bay Community College started offering this program and also invited me to be a part of what is happening there, I could not hesitate, because the aim is to see how best together, just like we're doing here, we can make the industry better.
Boy, Mr. Maitland, I believe that at the interview at Montego Bay Community College for the post, if them ask you this question, I'll be the director. Because, I see your love, your love for the business. And in real life, what Mr. Maitland is saying, he wants his competitors to be better competitors. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there are so many people in the industry. And when you do not have good competitors, it will tear down the industry.
Yeah, because
it will make things worse.
Unless you lift the standard of whatever you're delivering, the service you're delivering, the product you're delivering, unless you lift the standard, it's gonna always be subpar and watered down, and then persons will not be interested in what you have to deliver. And so the more we have individuals who love what they do and put themselves into the delivery of service in the funeral industry, is the better the industry is gonna be in Jamaica. I'm tired of hearing people complain about some things that, you know, are easy, low-hanging fruits, easy to fix. And that is always the aim, Mr. Green, to ensure that we have things in a way that you can see the professionalism exhibited at all times.
Yes, Mr. Maitland. I really like that. And I hope that people will know better understand who we are and why we are having this program and why we are coming with all these information, because we want better for the industry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for staying with us. And at this time, we'll be moving to a short break, and then we'll be back with you with more information. Learn more about Mark Maitland and Garden of Paradise.
Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn to day.
The Time brought to you by the Manchester Corp Credit Union 1977 Limited Property Loan. Telephone 876-962-0401 is 11:45.
The Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission JADCO needs your help to eliminate doping and keep sport clean. If you have concerns about any doping activity, you can share the information with JADCO anonymously. The information you share will be treated with the highest level of confidentiality. Make the right call if you see something, say something. Protect clean sport. Protect our legacy. To report doping activity, call 888-429-5232 or visit the JADCO website at jadco.gov.jm. A message from the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission.
Here's great news for men 40 years or older with an NHF card. The PSA test for prostate cancer is now a new benefit. Use your NHF card and get a discount of $1,600 for one PSA test each year. Pay less for your PSA test and take charge of your health. Contact NHF for labs accepting NHF card for the PSA test. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
A message from the National Health Fund.
Business is good when you're innovative and creative, when you embrace digital transformation, when you are a lifelong learner, when it is structured and resilient, when you're part of a community, when you do business anywhere, when you move from panic to passion, when you're with JBDC. Business is good. Whatever stage you're at in business, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation has effective solutions to help you succeed. JBDC, from concept to market.
Swallowfield Chapel in Kingston, Jamaica comes alive on Saturday, October 7 for the 7th staging of the Sterling Gospel Music Awards, recognizing talent, rewarding excellence. Featuring live performances from DJ Nicholas, Kevin Heath, Prince Saj, John Mark Wigan, Chantal Smalling, Humble, Chris Campbell, and more. Red carpet 6 p.m., showtime 7 p.m. sharp. Dress code black and white excellence. Get your tickets now at spuropen.com/Sterling7. Adults $3,000 pre-sold, $3,800 at the gate. Children $1,500. Lap infants 2 years and under free. Be there.
It will get better. It will get better. Won't last forever. Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn to day. Just remember, it will get better.
And Omega KLAS Radio, final decision. And here you have it. We are having a very interesting interview with Mark Maitland from Garden of Paradise. And now we are understanding the passion that Mr. Maitland have for this kind of business. So we are better understanding why he do what he do and why he do it so in such a way, right? Mr. Maitland, what I want you to talk to us about, Mr. Maitland, because we realize that and there's a package that you offer at Garden of Paradise. And now I am kind of understanding, the reason, because I want you to talk about the cancer package, the package that you have for people who die from cancer.
All right.
Because, Mr. Maitland, before you go into that, before you answer the question, what I realize with cancer, Mr. Maitland, when I'm doing a funeral and a person dies from cancer, they are always having financial challenges.
Yes.
Because it costs so much to
take
care
care,
for a person who have cancer.
Yeah.
And Mr. Maitland come up with this kind of package, it is a blessing.
Yes, man.
You know, that shows us the passion that you have for people. Tell us about it, Mr. Maitland.
So what we do, we have specially discounted packages for deaths that are cancer causing or an upgrade. So when we have the interview with the family, as long as we recognize and it can be proven that the individual died as a result of cancer, any form of cancer, we offer specially discounted package for that situation. Two things. One, the funeral home was started in memory of Francine. Francine is the sister of Sweets, our founder. And Francine died as a result of cancer. Unfortunately, the name of the funeral home came about because of Francine. Francine, actually gave the funeral home the name Garden of Paradise. So Sweets and Francine, they are sisters. Sweets had the passion about the funeral home, and Francine came up with the idea of the name. Now, shortly after the funeral home was formed, Francine died. That's a little before I took over. Francine died. And when I came into the mix of things, I said, you know what? One, in honor of Francine's memory, and also knowing the burden that families face financially when they have to care for somebody with cancer, we came about with the package, a special discounted package for cancer-causing death. So if the deceased died as a result of any form of cancer, we have a special package for that family. Because we know, Mr. Green, we know that it is a burden on your finances to care for that person while they are alive. And so when they get to us at that time, we want to, as we say, granting relief in the time of grief.
Right.
We want to grant you some relief, some reprieve. We want to allow you to grieve easier. And so we try as best as possible to take off some of the financial burden from the family.
Mr. Maitland, and all that is working out, Mr. Maitland, all people responding to that.
It is something that has found favor with individuals, because the truth is, if in your time of grief you can save, well, I can never say save some money, you realize that you're spending less than you thought you would have to spend. That is something that persons welcome, and persons tell other persons about it, because it is something, Mr. Green, that sometimes I say to persons, the dollar value is not as important as seeing the satisfaction on the faces of your clients. And when you can serve somebody and they pay, and even after that they keep saying thank you, it means that you have done something good. And for me, the comfort I get in service is to see that my clients are pleased at the end of the day. And they are so pleased that they want to tell somebody else about the experience that they have had.
Listeners, if you just join in with us, I want you to know that this is coming from not just an ordinary person who just rushed into the funeral industry, but a well-learned person, a certified mortician, right? One who knows a lot and the ins and outs of the business, one who invested a lot, in this industry and in himself also to become the kind of funeral director that he is. And here you have it. If you are someone who is going through that type of illness, where it drains your resources, at Garden of Paradise Funeral Home right here in Jamaica, he offer a special package for those who
die as a result
of cancer. Once the person die as a result of cancer, Garden of Paradise is saying that, hey, we care. And we care for you in a very special way, because this is the foundation, right, on which Garden of Paradise was found. So this will be a standing one for Garden of Paradise. Mr. Maitland, and next thing that I want you to talk about, we did something in COVID.
Yeah, man.
At the start of COVID. And not many people know about it, or not many people had mentioned it.
No.
I think we have done one or two interview. I don't remember.
We have invited a couple of media houses and
Right.
they never gave it traction.
In COVID, the height of COVID, when everybody taking cover for their life,
Right.
everybody free to take the chances,
Right.
and people was not caring too much about those who was on the front line
Right.
in COVID. Garden of Paradise make a huge step and take the risk, go into his pocket, invest deeply in ensuring that these people are covered. Mr. Maitland, tell us about that.
Listeners, you see, in COVID-19, when COVID just started, and I know not many persons understood what it was about, but there was something basic that we knew. There are some things that would help to kind of lessen the spread of the disease. And you hear Mr. Green talk about Garden of Paradise, the idea we sat and discussed, and the whole thing was financed by both Garden of Paradise and Exodus Funeral Home. Let me tell you what we did. We bought thousands of gallons of bleach and alcohol and sanitizers, and we bought some bottles, and we made some care packages with bleach, alcohol, sanitizers, spray bottles with sanitizers and alcohol. And the first place we went.
And when people could not get those things, Mr. Maitland,
yeah, man,
you find a way how to get it.
We found a way to get it.
Because it was a shortage in the island.
There's a big shortage in the island, but we found a way to get it. We sourced it, and listeners, I found the way to get it, and Mr. Green ensured that the things were transported. And the first place we went was Ground Zero. It was the time when the first case was in Bull Bay, and nobody wanted to go to Bull Bay.
No, everybody afraid of Bull Bay.
And even when we went out there with the care packages, the police were saying, "What? How you guys came up with this?" And then we took it from there, and we visited some police stations in and around.
Because we wanted to ensure, Mr. Maitland,
that those on the front
police,
line,
on the front line,
and the nurses,
what was given these care package that was not offered to them when it was a shortage.
It was a shortage. And so we visited a number of hospitals, a number of police stations, and we dropped off the care packages. And to this day, persons are still expressing gratitude for what happened. So that was an initiative through Garden of Paradise and Exodus, something that I believe was a wonderful initiative. Mr. Green, we spent hundreds of thousands on that project.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands, and I believe it was money well spent. Because after we were through, Mr. Green, and our thing was not loaded up like some others, you know. The very thing that we did, we saw individuals in the back end started to do
it. Yeah.
And
that was the good thing about them, Mr. Maitland. We have started a fire.
Right.
That did not stop. It blazed.
Right.
It blazed and shed some good on the island.
Yes, man.
And a lot of people was able to benefit.
And I was happy that person saw it and saw that it was something worthwhile, and they took it up and they went with it. But with the limited time that we have left,
Mr. Maitland, let us rush into this because we have a limited time left. But I still want you to talk a little bit about, the basic schools that you have visited as a funeral home and the care packages that you have given and just put it together, Mr. Maitland. So I want people to understand what you are doing out there as a funeral director.
All right. So there are a few basic schools that we have touched base with. We have given donations to. We have helped to refurbish. There's one in particular we have contributed computer towards their reading department, and we continue to work as best as possible with our schools to see how we can help to make the lives of our children better, because the truth is, if we change the mindset of the generation to come, then we can always change the country, and education is a way to change the mindset in order to change the country and to steer young persons away from crime and violence. And recently, Mr. Green, like you did through Exodus, we did some back to school packages, backpacks and so on, and those were well received. We also assisted some students in going back to school financially. So this sort of philanthropic work is what we continue to do through the Garden of Paradise Funeral Home, and we continue to help individuals because individuals are there to be helped.
This is someone who leave the banking and becoming a teacher, an educator, and a funeral director, the managing director for Garden of Paradise, Mark Maitland, the man with the golden smile. Mr. Maitland, we touched the last time on this program about the Join Me on the Corner, and Mr. Maitland, quickly, I just want for you to, just talk a little
All right,
bit
so,
about that.
So quickly, Join Me on the Corner is something that is coming. It's an initiative that both Exodus Funeral Home and Garden of Paradise Funeral Home will be doing. And of course, we'll be strategically targeting some areas, some hotspots where we want to change a mindset. And we want to show that there's another way out. And of course, we'll be partnering with different corporate entities in Jamaica because we want to, as best as possible, in any way we can, help the youth to understand that there is a better way. And Mr. Green, we want the whole world and the country to understand that Exodus Funeral Home and Garden of Paradise is not just about burying your loved ones when the time comes.
If we can bury them, Mr. Maitland, we can build them.
It's about building.
We can raise them enough.
Yes, man. We can raise them.
We can build them.
But those who are here, we can
Right.
build them. It's about investing in our people, especially our young people, to make life better. Mr. Green, before we end, I just want to say thank you to our listeners who are always here. I want to say thank you, Mr. Green, for always being here. I want to thank the persons who helped to make this possible, Mr. Hoyt, Mr. Manning, and of course the big man, Mr. Anderson, those who helped to ensure that this program is on. We are heard clearly, but most of our listeners, thank you so very much for not only listening, but for spreading the word. This has been another program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
It will.
It will get better.
It has come to pass.
Because it came to pass.
Two funeral homes come together.
Blessings.
Make it better.
Blessings, everyone. Blessings.